Welcome to Off the Record. Today we're going to talk about COVID and youth sports.
Yo, welcome to Off the Record Sports, the sports spinoff show, the almost famous Off the Record podcast. Almost. We'll get there one day. Of course, today's show is powered by Crossover Media. They're famous. Crossover Media is famous. I'm claiming that. Today's show, powered by Crossover Media, your one-stop shop for sports and culture, podcasts and content. Please check us out at Crossover 360 on all your social media platforms. And also check out the website at crossoverpodcast.com. That's crossoverpodcast.com. Of course, today I'm joined by the team, the squad, as always. We got Quan, a.k.a. OTR Quan, b.k.a. Big Guap. What up, Quan?
Happy Saturday, everybody. Great day to be on OTR Sport and indulge in some good sports, basketball, football wise. How's everybody doing?
Great, man. Great. We also got Brandon, a.k.a. OTR Brandon, b.k.a. the hair weave puller. What up, Brandon?
What's good? Yeah, feeling good, feeling great.
And then we have Alex, Mr. Laker Central 365, BKA, Big Snow. That's right. What up, Alex? What's poppin'?
What's going on, man? Let it be known. I was the first to bang Jeezy around our way. Let it be known.
You know what? You were riding for Jeezy. Around that time, everybody was riding for 50 Cent. But we're gonna save that for another episode that we got coming up on that. So yeah, man, let's get to it. We OTR Sporting today. A lot of news, a lot of things going on, especially in the NBA with free agency and the draft that happened recently. But I wanted to start, man, with some unfortunate news. Klay Thompson, man, he suffered a season-ending Achilles tear while working out. He's coming off of another season-ending injury with a ACL tear. So it's a tough break for this brother, man. Obviously, this is huge implications for the Golden State Warriors in their season coming up. But what do you guys think about this unfortunate news, man? I'm going to start with you, Brandon.
Well, like you said, it's unfortunate. Klay is most definitely one of the best, if not the best shooter in the league, especially coming off screens, off-ball shooter, whatever. Golden State has a lot of talent. I think they're still going to miss him. This will hurt their chances of contending, but I still think they'll be a strong team. Hopefully, Klay comes back healthy, and the Knicks pick him up somehow.
What about you, Alex? I know, obviously you're a Lakers fan, as we can see. You Laker geared up, but you always hate to see this type of stuff. I know this was an injury that Kobe dealt with himself. What do you think about this, man? How do you think Golden State will play this out, man? And are they still a playoff team without Klay? Will they make any noise in the playoff without Klay?
I mean, well, it sucks that Klay's dealing with this. He tore his ACL, his right ACL, I think, last season, missed all year. Now he's dealing with his left Achilles. They're saying the way the Achilles tore, he will return to 100%. Mm-hmm. I'm always skeptical. Achilles is the worst injury you can have as a basketball player. So who knows what he looks like post-Achilles. And his father, Michael Thompson's the next Laker. So, much respect to the Thompsons. It sucks for him. Like, 2 years of rehabbing, it's almost like DeMarcus Cousins, 2 major injuries back-to-back years. You're in the prime of your career. But the good thing about Klay, at least he got paid already. That's the first thing. He's got 3 rings. By all accounts, he'll be in the Hall of Fame if he never plays a basketball game again. So there's that part of it. In terms of the Warriors, there are a lot of people that think that the Warriors roster, there's some of the pieces they've recently added that they can not only make the playoffs but make noise. in the playoffs as like a maybe 4 or 5 seed. That's ridiculous. Like that's just ridiculous. They're not out of the top 3 teams in the West. Everybody else is irrelevant. They really are. And so, like as far as Steph goes, he should probably go full James Harden, average 35 a game. But Steph is also 33, so like he's just go balls hard, man. Average 30, 35 a game. I mean, and ride or die with Steph. Otherwise, I mean, the Warriors, at least they got their 3 rings. That's how I see it.
Yeah, Quan, I saved you for last, man, because you yourself personally dealt with, it wasn't Achilles, but you had a serious knee injury at one point in time, and you, of course, were an athlete. Man, go into a little bit of your recovery, how long it took you to recover, and how you feel now, man. Like, do you think Klay will return to form? Now, mind you, he's coming off of, like Alex said, 2 serious injuries back-to-back seasons, similar to DeMarcus Cousins. Give us a little bit of knowledge on that, Quan, in your own experiences with a serious injury like that.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, my heart goes out to Klay and his family about this major injury. Achilles is tough. It's tough. It's something where you're dealing with tendons, not more so muscles. So, having it reconstructed is one thing, and I think nowadays with the sports medicine and the doctors, time will only tell. But my heart goes out to him because that's a major injury, and then having to go through what he went through in the past with dealing with his previous injuries, pre-existing injuries, the things that he had to go through. So it's tough. So the mental aspect of it, he has to go through that again. The gruel, the wear and tear, the physical therapy, the mental aspect of being able to feel comfortable when he comes back from that particular injury to go and to try to play at a high level to where he once was. So, you got to take all that into consideration. The great thing about it is he's young. He's not old. He can somewhat, do what he needs to do to work it out and to, just to try to do the best job he can with, the particular injury that he's facing. But it's tough. He's probably thinking like, he's probably having a confidence complex when it comes to that particular, his injury, what he has to do to get back. So it's not going to be easy, but at the same time, he's a professional. He knows what comes with the territory. And, I think he'll be able to bounce back. I don't know if he'll be able to bounce back in the sense of how he was, before, because like I said, when you're dealing with tendons, it's a little bit tricky. And basketball players, you're consistently jumping, you're consistently using that tendon. So only time will tell. But, he has to continue to work hard. He has to continue to, if he wants to be at a level and if he wants to play at an all pro level and, and play high and do what he needs to do, then, he'll do what he needs to do. It comes with the territory. So only time will tell, man. Only time will tell. I hope everything goes well for him though, but it's going to be a hard recovery. But it's a process that he can do and he can get over it.
Yeah, man. It's unfortunate for the brother. One thing I will say is, his strength. Well, one of his strengths, but I'll say his biggest strength is his shooting. So I feel like he could come back and still be an effective shooter, a spot up shooter. And that will extend his career for a couple more years. I think it'll be tough for him to be the defensive player that he was. That was his other strength. Typically guarding the best player on the floor for the other team. I think that'll be tough, man, coming off of these 2 major injuries, but he's a shooter. And once you're a shooter, you always got a place in this league. So I think he'll survive and he'll find a place in this league somewhere. All right, guys. So moving on, man, we had the draft this week. There's a lot going on in the NBA, man, and we had the draft, and I'm about to throw up the draft boards. Here's round one. Of course, we had Anthony Edwards going 1 out of Georgia. This draft was it was a solid draft. This was, to me, one of those drafts that was filled with players that are, I don't want to call them role players, but like depth guys, like, to give your team that extra player that can make some noise. I want to start with you again, Brandon. You're a Knicks fan, as we can see by your hoodie. You guys took Obi Toppin, man, number 8. How you feeling about that? And how you feeling about the Knicks draft in general?
I feel great. It's on paper. We don't know what any of these guys are going to do once they get on the floor. We can make all the predictions we want, but I liked it. I liked Obi Toppin. He seems like a very explosive player. I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't watch much college basketball. I don't really pay attention to the prospects until they get drafted. And then that's when I start looking at them. But from what I've seen of Obi Toppin, him and Mitch are going to be a problem on the front line. I just hope that, we stay healthy. Some of the other picks that we got Emmanuel Quickly from Kentucky. We got him in a trade. I was happy with that. I know Stephen A. Smith was, he was making a fuss about how he wanted us to draft a guard, Tyrese Halliburton, which is also an interesting situation there because they extended De'Aaron Fox, so they've got 2 pretty good point guards there. Wonder what they're going to do, but we got back to the Knicks. We got Emmanuel Quickly, all SEC player, late in the first round, and then after the draft we picked up Miles Powell, who is, as far as like awards and accomplishments in college, he's just as decorated as the first 2 guys we got. He won the Jerry West Award as the best shooting guard, Big East Player of the Year, and consensus first team All-American. So we got him after the draft. So I'm excited about the young players we're bringing in. We're the youngest team in the league. We just stay the course. I like what the front office is doing right now. We're not making desperate moves. We didn't oversell ourselves to get Russ, but I still think that's in the works. So if we bring in Russ, I might start to talk some shit this year. But go ahead.
Well, we all know that Alex is our resident NBA insider. His team is on this board for making a pick of Jaden McDaniels, but we all know, or if you don't know, that pick was a part of the Dennis Schroeder trade. So, Alex, outside of that deal that you guys made, which I know you're happy with, any of these picks in the first round, man, that jump out to you or that you think were good fits? I know that you really like LaMelo Ball landing in Charlotte, man. So, any picks on this board that you think were good picks and will work out for that team in the long run?
I don't watch a lot of college basketball, and so I'm not as familiar with these guys as Brandon is. I think, as you mentioned, I'm a big LaMelo Ball fan. I like James Wiseman also. I thought he could have went number 1, but things played out the way they did. I'm really happy LaMelo ended up in Charlotte. One, the best thing to me to come out of this draft is LaMelo went to Cookout when he went to Charlotte. That to me is the best thing to come out of this draft. Second part is, man, if you're Charlotte, like, you need it. To me, it's important to have a big name in a place like that. Like, why not give LaMelo Ball a try? He's already a brand name, and he's probably the most well-known guy on this entire board. So people in Charlotte, when you're allowed to return to arenas, he's probably going to sell out the arenas, right? To me, I like it a lot. Other than that, this is one of those drafts where, people keep saying there's no LeBron or no Shaq at number 1, anything like that. But you might look back 10 years from now and say, oh, well, they're, in the middle of the first round, there were guys. Like, there were other guys. Maybe there was a Kawhi or Kobe or whatever that was drafted later in the round. So it remains to be seen. But I really like LaMelo Ball in Charlotte.
Quan, how about you, man? I know the college basketball and NBA really isn't your thing. You're an NFL guy, but any of these picks, man, stand out to you? I know you got some North Carolina running in your blood, man. So you feeling that LaMelo Ball down in that area? And I know I can speak to this and coming down to visit you when you live down there, that him making a stop at Cookout was a must. Somebody hipped him. Somebody had to hip him, because whenever I was down there, I had to make a stop. So any picks on here that you feeling, man?
Yeah, honestly, I have a few picks. I'm not going to be too long-winded with it. But for one, yeah, man, those Carolina ties, the LaMelo Ball pick, I think it was a really great pick for the city of Charlotte. I think the marketing aspect, someone did give him game to actually go to Cookout. I think the marketing aspect of that was great. So, that's going to be really big for Cookout. And I think the city pretty much just needs that. I think LaMelo Ball drop into Charlotte, I think it was great. I think the city needs a superstar to come in and to, put seats. Put behinds in the seats, sell tickets, and, bring that particular stardom to Charlotte. I think it's time. So I think that was great. The other pick I'm really intrigued about is the Cole Anthony pick. He was a Carolina guy as well. We're from New York, but he played at UNC, the Tar Heels, and he was rated pretty good, pretty high as a point guard. So I want to see that pick. I'm really intrigued about what Orlando's going to do with that, and I just want to see the young brother do well in his NBA career. Now, I like the Wizards. So the ninth pick, we got the guy from Israel, Denny Avdija. If I'm pronouncing the last name correct, I'm sorry if I chopped it up.
We'll run with that.
Yeah. So, like I said, guy from Israel, he was rated high coming from Israel. So I want to see what he can do. I want to see what type of energy he can bring. He was a first pick, 9th overall. So he's going to have some minutes. So he's going to have a chance to kind of shine and see what he can do. And the 26th pick, Peyton Pritchard. I'm a little bit intrigued with this guy as well. Coming from the Pac-10, he was Player of the Year. So I want to see what he can bring to the Celtics.
Yeah, man, those were all good names, man, that you pointed out. I want to point out number 10. Jalen Smith, man, your local guy, Baltimore kid, played for the Terps. I wasn't expecting him to go in the top 10. I was expecting him to go in the first round, but I was happy to see that. I think Jalen Smith will thrive with a point guard like CP3 to get his career going. So shout out to him. There's a couple local kids, man, that win in the first round. So shout out to those guys as well. I'm going to throw up here the second round, man. Any of y'all want to jump in? Any of these picks stood out to y'all? I'll start, man. I'll start at 32 with Vernon Carey Jr. Going to Charlotte. I thought Charlotte had a really, really good draft with those first 2 picks, but I was surprised, man. I almost forgot about him until his name was called. I was surprised that he fell to the second round. I believe he was the ACC Player of the Year. He put up solid numbers. So I was a little surprised that he fell out of the first round. I think this was the first year that Kansas, Duke, and I think it was one other the bigger name schools or the grassroots schools that didn't have a player go in the first round, which is wild. And this is like in 20 years or something, which is crazy. So that's my guy. Any of y'all can jump in here, but any of these names jump out to you or that you're excited about or that you're interested in seeing get their NBA career started?
Trey Jones sticks out. Point guard at Duke. I'm guessing he fell to the second round because of his size. I mean, Coach K usually puts at least some good rotational players into the league. Nobody else really. I don't know any of these guys. But I mean, if you want to talk about folks that fell though, what was interesting to me is that Kentucky, back to like Emmanuel Quickly and Maxey, they got drafted late in the first round. Like Kentucky players usually their top players are usually drafted at least in the top 20. They fell damn near to the second round, but no, I the only one that really sticks out to me here that I know about. Oh, maybe Kenyon Martin Jr. I wonder if apparently he's not as good as his dad was, but we'll see. Trey Jones sticks out to me though. I like to see how he does in San Antonio. I think coming from Duke to San Antonio, that's a pretty good fit.
What about you, Alex? Any of these names, man, that jump out to you? Shocked that they fell, or you looking forward to seeing what they do in the league?
I wish all these guys success in NBA, man. I have no idea who these dudes are.
Another name, man, I'll say Nico Mannion, man, going to Golden State. And I don't know if they kept that pick or if they traded it, but if they do have it, he could be a name too that does some things for that Golden State team, especially with the injuries that's going on. Quan, what about you? Any of these names that jump out to you?
Yeah, I mean, much success to all of them, all the youngins that are going into the NBA. So it's a major jump. For me, it's Kenyon Martin Jr. I've been reading up on him, and we all know about Kenyon Martin, Sr., his father, the way he's played and what he brought to the game and how scrappy he was. So I want to see what he's going to do, honestly. I want to see if he's going to bring that same intensity that, his father brought. Of course, those are some big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, he's going to have the guidance from his dad, and as well, he's going to have the coaching. So he's going to Sacramento. A team that's not really going anywhere at the moment. So, he'll have some time to polish up his skills. So I want to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, Kenyon Martin Jr., man, his story, he had a little his route to the NBA is interesting. He didn't go the traditional route. I think he did sign initially with Vanderbilt, I believe, but he didn't play. I think he might have did another, I don't know, he did a prep year or a year professional, something like that he did. So maybe that's why he fell, because he didn't go the traditional route with the college and playing a year in college and stuff like that. So, but shout out to him and getting drafted. Shout out to all these young boys. And I do agree with you, Alex, man. This is one of those drafts, like you said, there wasn't any can't miss players in this draft, right? Usually you got one and you got a few. Sometimes there's a draft where you don't have the Anthony Davises and, the players that are going to star in this league. But this could end up being one of those deep drafts that one of those unexpected deep drafts, because it's full of players that, may not be all-stars or may not be superstars, I'll say, but may end up being all-stars later on in their career. So shout out to all the young boys living their dream, getting drafted to the NBA. It's a big step. So much success to them. So also, man, outside of the draft, because again, this was a busy week for the NBA, there was free agency that went on. So there was a couple signings last night. Woj, Shams, and as you can see, our insider he's checking his phones right now, seeing what deals are coming in. As you can see, so they've been working their phones. So I highlighted a few signings and trades that went on yesterday. One, as we started the show talking about Klay Thompson, the Warriors got busy and made a move quickly to try to offset that injury a little bit by trading for Kelly Oubre Jr. Who's this? He's a good player, man. It feels like
I didn't know that.
It feels like he's missing something, which then keeps his name off of certain lists as being like the next player up or almost close to being an all-star type player. But this kid can ball.
Oh yeah.
So quickly, man, what do you guys think about this move for Golden State? I mean, listen, he got some big shoes to fill, and we know he's not going to be Klay Thompson, but adding him to that roster, you still have Aaron Wiggins. They just got Wiseman. And then you still got Steph and Draymond, man. What do you think this does for that Golden State team? Start with you, Brandon.
Thanks you for breaking the news to me. I did not see that. That is a significant move. I thought Kelly Oubre. I enjoyed watching him this past season in Phoenix when he was healthy. And if you remember, Phoenix in the bubble, they were a problem. I don't think Oubre. I'm not sure how much he played in the bubble off the top of my head, but I know he was injured at some point throughout the season. But Oubre is a problem, yo. If you said he's not Clay, I think he's a young player who's ascending. As far as pure shooters, of course, we got Clay up there as an elite shooter, but like Oubre, I don't. As far as like raw talent is concerned, I don't think he's far behind Clay. I think he can, he might not be as good of a defensive player as Clay was or as we thought he was, but Oubre is a two-way player. He's a two-way player that can get up the floor. He's got an outside jump shot. He can take you off the dribble. He finishes strong at the rim. This is a significant move for Golden State, at least for the regular season. I don't know what he's going to do in the playoffs, but he can ball. I like this move for Golden State.
What about you, Alex, man? What do you think about this move for Golden State?
No, Oubre is good, man. Like, he was somebody I was eyeing that maybe the Lakers could try and make a trade for. He's a really good player. Golden State has went from having the greatest shooting backcourt of all time, also having Kevin Durant, who's one of the best shooters of all time, to now you've still got Steph, but Oubre and Wiggins ain't Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. Like, no matter how you slice it. Certainly not shooting-wise. So the style of play for Golden State probably has to change a bit if you're going to have these two guys on the floor at the same time. Draymond's still there, but he's older, right? And then now you got Weissman, who's a rookie. So you've got Oubre, Wiggins, and Weissman, who have never sniffed an NBA Finals and don't have the kind of experience that Dre and Klay does. So they have to temper expectations. Like, that's going to be the thing for Golden. If Golden State's coming in saying, "Oh, we're going to compete for a championship," like, you probably need to quiet down a little bit, because when these guys maybe kind of falter under the spotlight, then it's going to be their fault. When I think that they're fine players. They need time, man. But I like Oubre a lot. I really like him a lot.
What about you, Quan, man? You used to play for your squad, the Wizards, Washington Wizards, man. What do you think about Oubre ended up with the Golden State Warriors?
Yeah, I'm shocked about this pick as well, but I think it's a good pick. He contributed when he played for the Wizards, and look, he came out of Kansas. He was a contributor. He was a two-way player. Of course, things didn't work out in DC. He went to OKC, and then now Golden State have picked him up. And you're gonna need someone to complement Clay, right? So, why not go out and get a player and make that trade for him? He's still young, and like I said, he's a two-way player. So it was a good pick. Time will tell if it actually manifests into something, to what they're looking for. Just like you said, if they're looking for championship, then that's a big question mark. But if you kind of tailor the expectations to competing, maybe going far in playoffs, then you got a solid pick with this.
Yeah, man, it is a good pickup, man. He had a career year last year. He averaged 18 points a game, and he had a career high in rebounds for a season, averaging about 6.5. So he's a player that is trending up. Again, he got big shoes to fill, and I guess they looking for him and Wiggins to somehow morph and transform into one player to kind of close the gap with Klay Thompson. But I do think it was a solid pickup for them. Sticking with the Wizards, man. Listen, I tweeted about this move, man. Davis Bertans, man, he got a 5-year, $80 million deal. And I tweeted about the Wizards because they have a tendency of giving out bad contracts. And for me, this says bad contract. But I will say the Wizards fans on Twitter were very, very, very happy about this deal. He is a knockdown three-point shooter. He did lead the league in three-point percentage, I believe. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. And what y'all think about this deal, man? Do you think he was overpaid? I know Brandon, when me and you talked yesterday on the Stereo app, check us out on the Stereo app. You said the Knicks were Iron Bertans, man. So you kind of had an eye on this guy. What do you think about this move and this signing, man, for the Wizards?
I having him on the roster, I think is a plus. Not, I'm whether the contract is bad or not. I mean, yeah, Wizards, well, the Washington sports teams in general just have a tendency to throw money at, I felt like they felt like they had to keep him. I think that's what this contract says. Like, yeah, we can't let too many. John Wall wants out now. Like, I don't know. I guess I'll final answer is this. I like Bertans. I would have loved him on the Knicks. 5-year, $80 million, probably would have said, all right, ain't shit changed with the Knicks. We still throwing out contracts. But having this guy on your roster, he's a 6'10" guy who could fill it up quick. He gets hot. It's a problem. So congrats to him. The Wizards get to keep him, but I don't know how much of a change this is going to be for the Wizards, especially if Wall leaves. But good player. I like him.
Alex, Bertans, man. Yeah, as our resident NBA insider, was this an overpay or did he deserve this type of contract? Now, I will say that he did have a career year with the Wizards. He averaged 15.4 points a game. That's up from his previous career high, which was around 8 points a game. He shot 42% from 3-point. What do you think, man?
I mean, it's modern NBA puts a premium on shooting, right? So he's white and he can shoot. So I mean that generally will get you paid. I think teams have to do something, and they got money. They got to spend it, right? Like you have to spend the money. And if you look at what Joe Harris got to stay with the Nets, he got 4 years, $75 million, and he shot 42% from 3. Right, so. If you're just looking at someone comparable to Davis Bertans, then if that's the market, 70, 80 million for a shooter, all right, then, like I guess if they didn't spend it on him, who were they going to spend it on? So.
Yeah, I think for me that it's the length of the contract more so than it is the dollar amount. He's 28 years old, 5 years. I mean, Bertans at 33. I don't see him becoming like Dirk or anything. Like he's going to be a rotational 6'10" guy who can fill it up from the outside. So I mean,
Bertans isn't 33. Oh, you mean at the end of his contract?
Yeah, at the end of his contract, he'll be 33. Yeah, he's 28 now.
Yeah.
Quan, again, this was a signing by your squad, man. What do you think about them? What do you think about the Wizards keeping Bertans? Now, before you go, there's reports that Bill and John Wall were recruiting him to keep him to. Trying to talk him into staying with the team. So, what do you think about them keeping Bertans, man?
I don't like it. I mean, I don't see why $80 million, like for the Euro step and the 3-point. I mean, look, I get it. You have to pay the premium for a shooter. But 80, like we could have spent that on us trying to get a superstar. You know what I mean? Like I don't see why we pay $80 million for that.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I
don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, yeah, I mean, so he's not starting, right? He's coming off the bench.
I would hope he's starting getting this type of money. I mean, he played around 30 minutes a game for y'all. So whether he's starting or coming off the bench, he plays a good chunk of minutes.
Okay, so he comes off the bench, he plays a good chunk. He averaged. You said 9, and then he came up from 9 to 15. That's a good jump. That's a really good jump. But I just don't believe $80 million. I don't see it. I don't see it. We could have went somewhere else and used that to get a premium player that does more. I mean, that does more. Like, I mean, maybe play defense. I don't know. I mean, just that I don't know. That just seems like it's a boatload of money for a player you're only getting a 3-point shot out of.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. I mean, hey, like Alex says, a lot of bloated contracts going on. There's a premium on shooting. I was just as surprised at Joe Harris's contract. So I don't know, man. We'll see how it pans out. But listen, I'll never hate on people getting their money, get them dollars, get what you feel you worth, get what they give you, what they offering. But I thought this was right along the lines of the Wizards and their bloated contracts. You know, along the and Mihimis and those type of deals. But we'll see, man. We'll see how this goes. Now, unintentionally, man, we kind of going along the lines against the Wizards. This was unintentionally, but soon after this deal was signed, this came out. John Wall has requested a trade from the Wizards. Now, earlier in the week, there were comments made by Thomas Shepard, who is the Wizards' new GM, and he said things along the lines like, John Wall will not play major minutes for them anymore. There also was a rumor that John Wall was a part of a trade discussion that would send him to Houston for Russell Westbrook. Listen, we don't have to spend a lot of time speculating on, this situation. I figured something would come up out of it, but man, like, where do you guys think John Wall would fit? I'll put that out there. Where do you think he would fit? What team do you think he would be a good fit for? Now, here I'm gonna throw another image on the screen of a few teams that people are saying he would be a good fit for, but I want to get y'all's expert opinion and on that too. Like, here's a few. Some people think he'd fit well with the Clippers, Miami, the Spurs, and Denver. Starting with you, Brandon, what would you like to see? I mean, hey, would he be a good fit for the Knicks?
That would have been my first team. I would have said. It just depends on what we have to give up, but I would welcome John Wall, him or Westbrook. What's interesting here, I don't like Denver. Why? I don't know.
Well, you can't really pay attention to this like this. I don't know. This is what people think where he would be a good fit. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if they consider in the current roster at the time.
They didn't. Clutch points just be talking.
Yeah. The thing with John Wall is that, again, he's a talented guy, but he is a guy. I mean, he's a point guard. He's got to have the ball in his hands, and to me, I still kind of consider him, I guess, like a volume scorer. He's not going to give me 30 points a game on like 15 shots. He's got to have the ball. He's got to control. He's got to shoot. And we thinking a player like that, and with the roster that the Knicks have, which is young. Although I would like John Wall, it would be a concern of mine that, okay, you got to distribute the rock some. you got some players around you, but this is a guy who can get to the rack. I think he still has elite talent. But he's been in Washington for a while. They haven't really done shit. So, what?
Yeah. What, Alex, what do you think about this whole situation how it's playing out in DC with John Wall? I know also it was the GM also came out and said they would now be moving towards building around Bradley Beal. So they're saying that also is something that stung John Wall in wanting to request this trade. If he is traded, man, what is a good landing spot for this guy?
I don't know if there's a good landing spot at all right now. Like, if the Wizards could flip him for Westbrook, you do it. Mm-hmm. John Wall played 41 games in 2017-18. He played 32 games in 2018-19. He didn't play this entire past year. We haven't really seen John Wall in like 3 years, man. Coming off 2 major injuries. Like, his game was built on speed. And if you're coming off of 2 major injuries like he is, it's fair to ask, because he, ain't like he's Steph Curry from 3, right? Like, his game is literally built on speed. If he can't get up and down the court the way he used to, well, then his value is greatly diminished, not to mention he's making $44 million a year. So, to me, the Wizards are smart to try to build around Bradley Beal. Sorry, John Wall. That's just the truth. I think the Wizards saying that they're looking to part ways because he's throwing up gang signs, that's ridiculous. John Wall's been throwing up signs now for years. So that's all a lie. if anything, the reason why they're probably going to decrease his minutes is to try and make sure he doesn't get hurt again so they can try and move him. That's probably what's going on. But yeah, we just haven't. It's kind of like with DeMarcus Cousins, man, kind of like what we talk about with Clay going forward. You ain't seen a dude play in a couple years. You have no idea what they're going to look like. And again, if Wall's primary skill was getting up and down the court, it's fair to ask, he'll be 30, just about 30. Like,
30's not old in the NBA anymore.
No, it's not. But like
30 with 2 major injuries is
right.
But.
I mean, and making $44 million for the next 3 years. Like I have no idea where he would fit, man. Like even if the Knicks were to absorb his contract, let's say the Knicks pick him up and he has these same injury concerns, then what do you do with Dolan can afford it, but what do? You handicap yourself with the cap. So I have unless if the Wizards are going to give you like a future first round pick 2 or something else. Whoa, man, I don't know. He can't be mad that they're going to build around Bill. Bill's younger. He's better. Was he third team All NBA this past season?
Yeah.
Like,
and he was there. So
yeah, best ability is availability. Like,
yeah.
But Bill might be on his way out too, quiet as kept. But Wall can't be upset at this.
Quan, again, man, I hate to keep bashing you, man, but your team. What do you think about John Wall? I know you were a John Wall fan. Would you like to see the Wizards work this out and he stays and they try to build around that nucleus between him, Bill, and now Bertans? Or, what do you think? Do you think it's time for a divorce of this marriage between him and the Wizards? Hold on, Quan.
Are you transforming?
Call you breaking in and out, man.
You're frozen.
You're frozen as well. So we'll while Quan works out his technical difficulties, we'll keep going. But I'm gonna throw this up here again. For me, I think John Wall in Miami is intriguing. That's just me personally with that, with that style, that team, that, I don't know why. I'll be honest with you. I don't know why, but it's kind of intriguing to me to see him in Miami or even with the Clippers. I mean, shit, at this point, what the Clippers got to lose?
Clippers just gave $64 million to Marcus Morris, so they can't afford John Wall.
I mean, yeah. So,
John Wall in Miami, John Wall's gonna have to come. They have a culture there that they've built. Like John Wall's gonna have to come in and kind of humble himself, some and not be like, yo, I need the ball. And you get it, you get in where you fit in here.
Yeah. Quan, did you want to make any comments about John Wall?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I was saying the fan in me, I don't want to see him go. I really don't. I've been a John Wall fan since he played at Kentucky, and then way before that.
He's Carolina boy.
He's a Carolina boy.
Guy,
representing Raleigh, North Carolina. He played at Word of God, and so he was big. He was big around the Raleigh area, and so shout out to him. But at the same time, I don't really want to see him go. But just like Alex, said, we haven't seen John Wall play consistent, honestly, in 3 years. And at a high level. So from that perspective, and then from John Wall's perspective, I think he actually needs to try to go to a team that's going to be a little bit more beneficial to his play, his style of play. And he's not getting any younger. He still can play. I think he's still an elite point guard if he can, get back to. I'm not saying he'll get back to where he was, but the speed aspect of it, he may not have that anymore. But he can still play at a high level, and he can still contribute. So I think it's best. I think it's best that he tries to go to a team to where he sees fitting, and then Washington can kind of move on and do what they need to do when it comes to building around Bill or whoever else they need to get free agency or wherever.
John Wall is going to make $41 million this year, $44 million next year, and $47 million the year after.
Yeah.
Yo.
That contract is rough.
Yeah, that's a rough one. So you gotta, from the business side of Washington, yeah, man, you gotta you got to cut ties, and you got to see who can take on the boatload of that contract. You know,
Right. Good luck,
I mean,
good luck on moving that contract. I'll say that.
yeah, but
He'll be
I mean,
33 at the end of that contract. So
He'll be how old?
33. And it
Hey.
isn't like his game is like Chris Paul's where you can kind of plug in somewhere. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Somebody will get him. Somebody will take it
Oh,
off there.
I agree with you.
You know,
I agree. Whew.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I will say this: if the Wizards had a chance to flip him for Russ, they need to do that.
Oh, and let me add this part. John Wall has a 15% trade kicker. So if he gets traded, then his new team's got to pony up. Let me do the math real quick. Because I remember the Lakers had to AD waived his $4 million trade kicker.
He waived
and
his,
Wall's contract is damn near double AD.
15%.
So it might be an $8 million trade kicker on top of his salary. So you got to eat that as a team too.
They better talk that brother into waiving that.
Look, sucks for the team.
Look for a team that don't have cap and no point guard.
Yeah, sucks for the team, but I know he's laughing to the bank. You know what I mean?
He's good.
And he's probably not going to get another max contract, so he needs to probably you got to keep this.
Yeah. I won't come up off of it. No, sir. y'all move me do what y'all got to do, but I ain't coming off nothing, Jack.
Well, certainly we'll be keeping an eye on DC and what's going on there. But moving on quickly to the next trade that kind of happened late last night. Steven Adams was traded to the Pelicans. Now I think this became a 14 deal with the Drew Holiday going to Milwaukee and all of that. So that got a little confusing with all the moving parts in that. But again, bypassing all the extra of the trade, how do you guys think that Steven Adams will do in New Orleans, and how do you think he fits with that team with Zion?
He don't space the floor. Don't Zion need space?
They can work that out. I mean, Zion could. They must plan on playing Zion at the perimeter. Then Zion's probably going to do some ball handling. Ooh, they're gonna be strong up front. That's for damn sure. Steven Adams is a player who he's definitely a presence in the paint, as we saw in Oklahoma City these past couple years. Zion, you got Brandon Ingram, Lonzo.
Yeah.
Even without Drew Holiday, they got JJ Redick. I mean, they got,
and they just got that boy Kerr Lewis Jr. from Alabama.
They got Drew Brett. They brought in Bledsoe too.
What's interesting is that I'm looking here at their roster. It looks like they still have Derek Favors.
Damn,
he's definitely gonna have to move. He definitely gonna be the backup. You can't have Derek Favors and Steven Adams in it.
I think Favors signed back with Utah.
He signed with Utah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they needed a presence on the inside. That was Favors. I think they upgraded with Steven Adams.
What about you, Kwame? What you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good look. I think it complements Zion. Steven Adams, he's a force in the paint, and he brings that intensity. You know, you look at the roster, free Zoe. You still got Zoe. You know, and I mean, like I said, you got that young boy Kerr Lewis that they just drafted from Alabama, he can go coast to coast. So I mean, and you got Brandon Ingram. So, and you know, he's a dookie. So I mean, he came like, look, they have a solid young roster. Now, on paper, it looks like it's solid. Now, if it can translate to being on the court, then you know they could be a dangerous young team. They really can be. So, I mean, I think that was a good pick. But you need someone to complement Zion. He's your future. Why not get someone big that can go in the paint? And like you said, Zion, he can do his thing on the ball, or he can do what he needs to do as well as being in the paint. I think it's a good pick.
Alex, what you feel about this, man?
I mean, he's an enforcer. So, you know, you got an enforcer to play with all these young guys. I think they've got too many point guards. You know what, man, for me, it's always about level setting expectation. I don't know what the expectations are. Probably to make the playoffs. Brandon Ingram's going to get a max contract this season. He should. So they'll compete for the 8th seed, I guess. I like Steven Adams. He's a vet. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a good pickup. I, I would have liked to see him go to a contender, like maybe I don't know. Like I honestly thought he would end up with the Clippers some kind of way, But he is that enforcer type player. He is that guy that does the dirty work. So I think he will take a lot of those expectations off of Zion and to be, a rebounder and all of that stuff. So we'll see how it works. But he does clog the middle, and Zion needs to be, kind of working in that area. So we'll see how it goes. Shout out to my man Akeem, man. He's saying the 76ers made some moves in the draft and in free agency, getting Dwight, man. And that's who I wanted to move on to next. Alex, man, help us understand the mix up with the Dwight Howard situation. We know that he tweeted that he was staying in LA where he belonged, and then that tweet was later deleted, and then he ended up in Philly. Help the listeners understand what went down with that and him and your Lakers.
What happened was they had a framework for, I think, 3.6 million, something like that. And Dwight thought if he agreed to it, that the Lakers were gonna, that was like, we were done. All he had to do was agree. So he agreed, and then Shams tweeted it and Dwight tweeted it, and then they both deleted it because Rob Pelinka, they had the framework, but he didn't run the contract by Genie yet. So the Lakers were saying, well, here's the framework, but we need to wait until we iron a couple other things out. So they just got ahead of themselves. So I'm sad to see Dwight go. He was great for us this year. Great. Philly's getting a good one. Philly's of no concern to me. But shout out to Dwight. I'm glad he came back, got a ring, and made peace with Kobe. I'm happy about that.
So quickly, how do you think he'll fit in Philly with Embiid and that nucleus that they got going on there? I know Doc is there now, so how do you think that fit works out?
So Dwight, athletically, he's not what he used to be, but he can still get up and down the court. He was healthy this past year for us, so that's obviously a thing. If he can be healthy, he's stellar. And even though he doesn't have his athletic ability anymore, like, he's a 3-time all-defensive player, 3-time defensive player of the year. And you can see that in the way he plays. Like, he's a smart guy. He gave Jokic the blues in game one of the Western Conference. Like, Jokic had no idea what to do with Dwight. So
that whole series, man, he was frustrating him like crazy.
Yeah, Dwight. So Dwight will do the dirty work that Embiid probably won't do. And so you can't play them both at the same time like you can Dwight and AD, because Embiid's game isn't like Anthony Davis's. But you got a legit center. So if Embiid goes down for a handful of games, you've got a competent guy you can play for 20 minutes a night. So no disrespect to Dwight for me, man. I'm glad he got a ring this year. I think Philly got a real one.
So staying on that trend, man, and staying in that lane. This was probably the surprise signing for me, and it probably was for you as a Lakers fan as well, man. Dwight left, but you replaced him with the 6th man of the year, Montrezl Harrell. Quickly, Alex, give us a rundown of how you feel about this signing and what it does for the Lakers, man, and moving forward. Like, did this trade make you guys better than you were last year? And you won the championship last year. So not trade. I mean, did this signing make you guys better?
Yeah, you get the 6th man of the year. I mean, the Lakers have the reigning 6th man and the runner-up in Dennis Schroeder. So last season, one of the Lakers' issues was there was not a third scorer on this team. It was third scorer by committee. It was LeBron, Anthony Davis, and then like the drop-off. Any given night, it might be KCP. It could be Caruso. It could be anybody. This season, you've got Schroeder and Trez both averaging over 18. I don't think they'll both average that on the Lakers, but the fact that you've got 2 scorers, I didn't see this coming. I thought he would be too expensive for the Lakers, but he did turn down a larger contract from Charlotte to get a 2-year deal, an opt-out with the Lakers for $9 million. So to me, the Clippers get weaker losing him. And I know a lot of people are blaming him for the Clippers losing and not, he can't guard Jokic. Well, of course he can't guard Jokic, but that's more of Doc not being a great coach. And you don't put Trez on Jokic. That was just stupid. So the Clippers' failures isn't really on Trez as much as it is, I think, the coaching staff that was in Clipperland last year. I say all of that to say you take a key piece from a contender and add it to the champions. I mean, things only get better. I mean, you can't make up that production, which is probably why they gave Marcus Morris $64 million.
Yeah.
So
he literally walked across the hallway and joined the other team. So he didn't move far.
Well, he got caught up to the varsity squad. That's what happened.
Brandon, what do you think about Trez, man, signing with the champions, man?
I don't think the shit is fair, but I mean, whatever.
You think it's fair?
You imagine the pick and roll with LeBron and Trez or Schroeder and Trez? Shit.
I mean, the Lakers definitely got stronger. I disagree with the sentiment against Doc Rivers. I think Jokic is just a great player, man. I mean, shit.
He is.
Who the hell else were they supposed to put on him?
Well, you don't put a 6'8" guy on him.
I mean,
you could put Zubac on him. I mean,
man, he would have ate Zubac's ass up.
I mean, maybe. But
Montrezl, the thing about Montrezl here, Montrell, I know I call you Montrezl because you have a random Z in your name. He's good on both ends, defensively and offensively, and he brings that energy.
That's how his mama spelled it, dog.
Yeah, I would have put Montrezl on Jokic too, and if he can't guard him, then shit, man, we out of luck. I mean, he's just good. What we supposed to do? I don't think that's a knock on Rivers.
Quan, what do you think about Montrezl, as Brandon calls him, joining the world champion Los Angeles Lakers?
Yo, look, first and foremost, he's a Carolina boy. Shout out to Tarboro, North Carolina. That's what Trez is from. So, I think it's great, man. And the way he play, I call him the gargoyle, because when that dude jumps and he goes for the ball, he reminds me of the gargoyles, that used to come on.
They'll call him the gargoyle.
Yeah, he gets
Saturday mornings.
Yeah, Saturday morning. Yeah, he gets after it, dog. So, and he's aggressive. So I mean, I like the move. I like the move. It's a good move. He's gonna bring a lot of intensity to LA.
Yeah, man. Hey, you know what they say, man. Just like in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs signing, Le'Veon Bell and all of those players, the rich get richer. It looks like the Lakers just got better with this move. They also signed Wesley Matthews.
Yep.
So
how much cap space they got? I mean, Jesus Christ!
These players are signing for mid-level exceptions and taking less money. Trez took less money. Yeah.
You think the thing about Wes Matthews is he basically takes Danny Green's position. Danny Green was making $15 million and Wes is making 3.6. Like that is
Yeah, but Danny Green is a better player.
I don't know about that. Did you watch him in LA this year?
Did you watch him in bubble?
Yeah, he was brutal in the bubble.
Wait, hold on, wait, yeah, but let's be real.
I know
Shooters have their
He's
down
a Carolina boy. I know Quan.
Come on now, let's.
It's more to the game.
It was all good just a week ago.
The Lakers are going to bring back, or they're looking to bring back KCP. So if you're bringing back KCP, who's going to get the starting spot? There's no room for Dan at $15 million.
Right. So right. That makes sense. That makes sense to bring in West. But when you compare West with Danny Green, I don't think there's much debate there. I mean, when you're talking about championship experience, yeah, he might have been cold, but I mean, shit, what shooter hasn't had a cold streak?
No, he was freezing, dog.
Yeah,
he was freezing.
Excuse me, dog. he was frigid in the butt. The way LeBron looked at him when he passed him that shots for the game winner and he missed that shit wide open, LeBron was looking like, bruh, you're going to hit something.
I tell you what, but he has experience, and KCP, as good as the season as he had this year, he's not, he can do the same shit next year that Danny Green did this year. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, but you brought in Matthews.
he didn't become
right.
Isaiah Thomas or Joe Dumas.
I think
You're not going to pay.
He had
You're
a
not,
good stretch.
you're not going to tie up $30 million in KCP and Danny Green. Somebody got to go.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm keeping KCP.
I mean, I say this: KCP earned the way he played in the finals. He earned
he did.
that
He
spot.
He earned that spot.
Yeah,
he
did.
So that's the free agency. But I did want to give our resident insider a chance before we move on to the pick'em to update us on anything that's there that he's seen or any moves that he's expecting to happen in the NBA with his team or any other team. So we're going to give him the solo layout. We're going to give him our OTR NBA insider. So before we let you go, Alex, and we move on to the NFL pick'em, what's on the docket, man? Yeah, I know Fred VanVleet is still out there. I know Serge Ibaka and some of those names are out there. What do you think? What do you foresee happening on the second day of free agency?
Well, I mean, Gordon Hayward's still out there, and I know the Knicks want him, but he seems to prefer Indiana, and I find that interesting because he played for Utah, Boston, and now wants to go to Indiana. Do you guys see a trend there with the destinations he's choosing? I do.
I definitely see a trend. We can go back. Go ahead.
It fits his style of play, though. I mean, look where he went to college and played ball at.
He is from Indiana, so I can.
Yeah, right. We see the trend.
He's not asking to go to Miami or LA, right, or New York. So there's a trend there I see, but nevertheless, Raul Neto just signed with the Wizards, and Bobby Portis just signed with the Bucks. But the Lakers are trying to work out a deal to bring back KCP, and I mean, you all know by now the deal for Bogdanovich with the Bucks fell apart. So now the league is actually investigating the Bucks, and they're likely going to get fined and maybe lose draft picks moving forward. But the Lakers are actually talking to the Kings about bringing in Bogdanovich also now. So we'll see.
If they can pull that off, then I will agree with you, Brandon. It's not fair. If they are able to get Bogdan, and they are able to, still retain KCP and all of that, yeah, it's not looking good for the rest of the league. So
Chris Dunn signed with Atlanta. Atlanta's made some moves, man.
Atlanta has made some moves, man. They signed Gallinari, and now Chris Dunn to go with that young team, Trae Young and those young players there. So
Bucks just signed DJ Augustine, 3 years, $21 million.
EJ stay getting the check too, man.
Shout out to them Texas boys.
I knew Quan was going to say that. I knew
so
Uncle Chad.
Again, man, shout out to our OTR NBA Out Insider. We appreciate you, man. I don't know if you're going to hang around or not, but we're going to move on to the OTR Pick'em
show.
Our favorite part of the show. We'll see.
Throw that graphic up, son.
We'll
throw
see.
it up.
Go ahead, throw that thing up.
We'll see, man. Let's see what we got going into this week. So, Brandon won the week, man. He went 10-4.
Man, that's 4 weeks in a row.
I'm gonna start needing to see your picks, bro, because you might be fudging the numbers.
I might be fudging the numbers.
You might be fudging the numbers.
We do this show live; it's recorded.
Brandon came in the winner of the week at 10-4. I came in at 86 and Quan 7-7 for week 10, which brings the overall standings to Brandon now is solo first place by 2 games. Quan is bringing up the rear 72-56. We'll see how it goes this week.
Well, you know why? I think because Brandon put the burgundy on my
the burgundy.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I'm getting my ass kicked now.
No, the reason you got your ass kicked because you went 0-13 3 weeks ago.
You did go 0-13 1 week.
Your picks.
Yo, 50, grab the strap.
Right.
You did, bro. You did go 0-13, so
it's all good. It's all good.
So, all right, let me pull up the schedule, man, and let's be quick with this, fellas. Thursday night's matchup was Arizona versus Seattle. We already know Seattle won that game. I think I'm starting off this week 1-0, while you guys starting off 0-1. The first kickoff tomorrow is Philly traveling to Cleveland, 1 p.m. kickoff. Who you got, Quan?
Philly. I got the Browns winning. The Eagles 10, Browns 21.
All right, Brandon, who you got?
I picked Cleveland. I need them to beat Philly, 24-20.
I ain't trusting. Man,
I don't trust Cleveland either.
I don't trust Cleveland for some reason, but Philly ain't that great. But I'm gonna go Philly 22-21 in a close game. The next game we got Atlanta traveling to New Orleans for 1 p.m. kickoff. Who you got, Quan?
I got Atlanta taking it 21, Saints 17. Starting Taysom. I don't know.
What about you, B?
You said 21-17. I picked New Orleans. I think Taysom Hill, he's been waiting for this opportunity for a long ass time. New Orleans, 28-23.
I think New Orleans is making a mistake not starting Jameis Winston, man. So I'm going to go with Atlanta, 24-21. Next up, we got Cincinnati traveling to D.C. to face Quan's Washington football team club, whatever they are. 1 p.m. kickoff. Who you got, Quan?
We take this. 23, Bengals 17.
What about you, B?
Surprisingly, I picked Washington as well, 2 weeks in a row, 27-24.
I picked Washington for the first time. Quan, you should be happy. 21.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
21-17 DC. Next up, we got the Lions traveling to Carolina to face the Panthers. 1 p.m. kickoff. Who you got, Quan?
All the Carolina boys all day. 21-13 Lions.
Lions or Carolina?
I'm sorry. Carolina.
B, who you got?
I got Detroit. Carolina's reeling a little bit. Detroit, 27-25.
Yeah, I also got Detroit 27-21. I think Teddy's not playing this week, so yeah. And nor is McCaffrey, so I'm gonna go with Detroit. Next up, we got Pittsburgh traveling to Jacksonville, 1 p.m. kickoff. Who you got, Quan?
We all got Pittsburgh. Let's just move on.
Yeah, I'm sure we all got Pittsburgh.
Yeah, come on.
I'm sure we all got Pittsburgh there.
No, surprisingly, I
you picking Jacksonville?
No, I'm joking. No,
okay.
Yeah, I got Pittsburgh 23, Jacksonville 10.
Yeah, well, I think like Brandon said, we all got Pittsburgh. Just mark that down, bro.
Yeah.
The next game, we got Tennessee traveling to Baltimore, 1 p.m. kickoff. Who you got, Quan?
Cannot wait. Oh, I got Baltimore 23, Tennessee 22. Close game.
What about you, Brandon?
I picked Baltimore 24-23.
I also had Baltimore 26-24. We need to redeem ourselves after what they did to us in the playoffs.
I'll say this though, Calais Campbell and Williams, they not playing. I don't know how they're gonna start Derrick Henry, but I got them winning.
That is scary. But
Mike, can I interrupt? There's something about Quan's favorite football team.
Yes.
The Pro Football Talk is reporting that they may retain the name Washington Football Team forever. They may stick with that name, and if they don't, they're looking at Red Tails, Red Wolves, or literally football club, football team. Those are the names.
I'm not surprised if they do, then ideally I would like for them to go with the Red Tails. You know, honestly, just
you do like some Red Tail.
I just said if they change their name to the Red Tails, I might start cheering for them, yo.
Yeah, I mean, just man, just the whole origin of the Red Tails, what they brought to Black people and our culture. So, I would love for that to be the name.
And watch they go with Washington Football Team,
or like
as
the
the
Wolves
name.
or something.
Watch they pick Football Club as the team.
Yeah, I know.
That's the name. But okay, so continuing, we got New England traveling to Houston, 1 p.m. kickoff. Who you got, Quan?
I got the Pats. Pats 21, Texans 14.
What about you, B?
I got the Pats as well, 21-17.
I keep riding with Houston, man. They keep letting me down, but I'm gonna stick with them, 21-18. The first 4 o'clock kickoff We got Miami and the hot Dolphins traveling to Denver to face the Broncos. Who you got, Quan?
I got the Dolphins, man. I'm a believer. 23 Broncos. Dolphins 23, Broncos 10.
What about you, B?
Dolphins 35-17.
Ooh, blowout. I got the Dolphins 24-21. So it's a cold game for them, so we'll see how they do with that weather. Next up, we got the Jets traveling to Los Angeles to face the Chargers. Who you got, Quan?
I got the Chargers 21 versus the Jets 10-21.
What about you, B?
Chargers 27-13.
I also have the Chargers 27-17. Then we got Green Bay traveling to Indianapolis to face the Colts. 4:25 kickoff. Who you got, Quan?
I got the Packers 28, Colts 21.
What about you, B?
I got Green Bay 27-24.
I have Green Bay 28-24. And then the Sunday night game, we got Kansas City traveling to Las Vegas to face the Raiders. Who you got, Quan?
I got the Chiefs 24, Raiders 17.
What about you, B?
Can't wait to watch this game. I think KC gets Las Vegas back 35-24.
Yeah.
I have KC at winning 30-28. And then Monday night, we got the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Tampa Bay to face Tampa Tom and the boys. 8:15 kickoff. Who you got, going?
I got Tampa Tom and the boys. Bucks winning 23 to the Rams 21.
What about you, B?
Rams in this one. I think Aaron Donald's going to be on Tom Brady's ass. 28-24.
And I also have Tampa Bay 27-26. But yeah, Aaron Donald is a beast.
So you forgot one game.
What did I forget?
Dallas at Minnesota.
I did forget that. Dallas at Minnesota. Who you got, Quan?
I got Minnie. I got Minnie winning 17 against the Cowboys 14.
What about you, B?
I got the Vikings 28-17.
I also have the Vikings 24-14. And that is the OTR Pick'em. And also the end of our show. Fellas, anything in closing? Quan, we're going to start with you, bro.
Great show today. Talk about everything we need to talk about from the NBA perspective. We had our great insider, Alex, as usual, coming on, giving us, tips and giving us jewels on what's going to happen. And then we got a chance to get it in with the pick'em, man. So it was a great show. And all of the viewers and followers, we appreciate y'all. Y'all keep tuning in.
B, anything in closing, bro?
Yeah, I wish these dogs would stop fucking barking in the background. Great show. We got it under 2 hours today. Thank God.
Yes, Lord. Alex, NBA insider. Anything in closing, bro?
Nah, man. I'm glad, like everybody else, that we actually did a show within a timely manner. So,
yeah,
let's go.
I would like to see it even better, but we did good this week. But Alex, I want you to drop a few dimes on what I'm about to post. Crossover Media, who powers this show, man. Let the people know about Crossover Media.
We're a platform just trying to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table, and podcasting's exploding or has exploded. There's a lot of different forms of media out there with YouTube and all kinds of stuff going on, man. So we're just trying to make sure we've got a seat at the table and we're producing great shows, and we'll see where 2021 takes us. 2020 has slowed us down a bit, but we're going to see where 2021 takes us.
Word. Shout out to all the people that tuned in today. Shout out to all the people that will be listening to this, the audio version. Shout out to all the supporters of Off the Record Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at OTR_pod or on IG and Facebook at OTR_podcast. And then follow us individually, man. We all got Twitter handles, as you can see on the screen. And we follow back and we chat with y'all. And we do all of that. So holla at us, man. Off the Record podcast can be found on all your podcast streaming platforms. Check us out. We almost famous. We almost famous. We almost there. Check it out, man. We love y'all. We out. Peace.
Peace.